Hello everyone. I am Swapnajit. I am currently an integrated PhD student at Tata Institute of Fundamental Research, Mumbai. I got admission in 2023, and I had qualified several other exams like JAM, NBHM, CMI, ISI, and some others as well. So I had all experience of appearing many interviews. So I'm going to share with you some experience of my interview. So first you need to understand that what is the difference between written exam and the interview. Okay, so in written exam usually they ask you some questions. Written exam means I am basically talking about some subjective problems, because in MCQ and true false you know that how to deal with that. So mainly in subjective questions they are asking you some problems, and based on that you are trying to prove it rigorously, and you will get marks according to it. But interview is slightly different. So why? So first you need to understand that why interview is going to happen, right? They can take multiple written exams, right? But at the end, they, in most of the research institutes, they are taking students via the last step as an interview, right? Why interview? Because in interview is not just about your knowledge, it's about your communication skill, as well as it is a testing of your thinking ability. So what do I mean by that? So in interview usually professors ask questions from basic theories, okay, whether your basic knowledge is clear or not. Because so far I have talked with many students, many of my juniors as well, and there are a lot of people who know the result, who know how to apply that result, but they don't understand that result properly. So that it is not about just it is not just about the proof or anything like that. They don't feel that thing. Okay, see, mathematics is not just about you read some theorem and you try to apply that and all. Okay, you need to feel it. Okay, you need to feel it and you need to understand it. Otherwise you will not be able to go to research institute, because research institute always tries to find this kind of student whose thinking ability is actually good. Okay, so that's why in every interview they are basically checking your fundamental basic concepts. So like some example, if I give you, you all of you know continuity, uniform continuity, but they are usually asking you some basic fundamental difference of continuity and uniform continuity, and based on that they will ask you some several questions. That was happening with me as well. Okay, some questions in linear algebra, most of the students in linear algebra they are basically reading all of the theories by using matrices only. But how to connect matrix with linear operator, that is also a very important thing. And also whenever you have a infinite dimensional vector space, you can't relate the linear operator with the matrix, right? But in that case, how to deal with that, these are the fundamental things that you should understand very well. So not just theoretically read some proof and try to remember that proof, and if they ask you some proof you just rigorously stating the proof and all. This is not the case. What you have to do is that you need to explain that why this is true and why this is not. Okay, they will be happy if you think at that moment and reply back. Okay, they will not be happy if you just recall some result and if you try to use that result and finally prove it. Okay, so in interview what what you should uh, do is that whenever some interviewer asks you some questions, you should understand that problem, and based on that you should try to reply, not just using some big results or big theorem. Try to use some basic fundamental concepts and try to prove that. Okay, and interview should not be like so this interview, there is a difference between this interview and the job interview. Okay, so job interview usually interviewer asks you some question and you will reply it, that's all. But here it is much more about the communication thing. Okay, so you need to communicate with the professors, because you are going to do research in that institute. Okay, so there is a basic difference between this is the basic difference between the job interview and the actual admissions into research institute, that kind of interview. So there is a basic difference. Okay, and one more thing that you should remember, that do not get very nervous at all. Okay, there is no point of being nervous. Like in my time also, TIFR Mumbai interview was my first interview, and I, I they asked me some question. I tried my best to reply. If I did some mistake, they rectified me, and they gave me some hint, and using that hint I completed the proof. So in interview what usually happens is that someone asks you some question, you give some reply. Okay, even if it is not correct, they will provide you some hint. Okay, so don't be silent and think in your brain. Okay, try to reply whatever you are thinking, try to reply it. Okay, and they will, based on your reply, they will provide you enough hints so that you can complete. Okay, and this is actually a very good thing. I know that some students are thinking, okay, if they ask you some question and without any help, if I can prove, then only they will be happy. Not like that. They will be more happy if you take, if you take their hints, and based on their hints you can complete the proof. Okay, they will not like memory based answer at all. Okay, also one more thing, some things they might ask you that what's your favorite theorem. That was asked to me as well. So I will suggest you that first fix your preference topic. Usually it's going to be maybe real analysis or linear algebra or abstract algebra. Okay, so usually in most of the interviews they start asking questions from your preference zone, and after that, if they have time, they can ask you questions from other topics as well. So in every topic you should fix some favorite theorem. If you have already your favorite theorem, then you should definitely go for that. Otherwise you should fix some favorite theorem, and favorite theorem means it's not just a favorite theorem. Okay, favorite theorem means you know each and everything about that favorite theorem. Okay, starting from proof, how to apply that theorem, what is the application and all. Okay, this is one thing. Another one thing is that they can ask you a question from any area. Okay, because it depends on many things. Like suppose your interview is in the afternoon. Okay, and interviewer are already asking questions from some specific topics from the morning, so they might get bored and they can ask you some questions from some different topics as well. So that's why what you should do is that you should know the fundamental concepts of each and every topic. Each and every topic means as a BSc student, after BSc, if you are going to give a interview for MSc entrance or integrated PhD programs, then you should definitely know real analysis very well, all the topics of real analysis starting from sequence, series, limit, continuity, differentiability, integration, and the sequences of functions. And after that, in linear algebra, you should know up to diagonalization and the concepts of eigenvalues, minimal polynomial, characteristic polynomial, this kind of theories you should know very well, and some basic concepts of inner product space. I'll not say that inner product space is a very important topic. If you already know it, then it's fine. Otherwise you can skip that, but at least you should know very well up to diagonalization. And in abstract algebra you should know very well group theory and ring theory. Field theory you can skip as a BSc student. So these are the basic topics that you should know very well, and they will ask you your preference, and based on that they will ask you questions. And so overall in interview you should be able to communicate very well. That is very important. Don't be silent. That is not a very good sign. And try to communicate with the people. Try to ask for some hints. Try to tell them what you are thinking, what is your idea of how to complete it. Sometimes it can happen that they are asking you to construct some explicit function or explicit continuous or differentiable function, but you are not able to do that at that moment. You can just draw the picture. Pictorial things are also fine. So the main things that they are checking is that your fundamental concepts or your thinking ability is fine or not. Whether you are rigorous or not, that is not much more important. Like usually in semester level exams or in subjective problems, you know, to write each and everything in very detail, so that you can answer each and everything very so that you can complete the proof in a very rigorous way. But that is not required in case of interview. In interview, it is basically important that whether you are able to think at that moment, and taking the hints, whether you are able to reply or not. That's the main thing. Okay, and that's my tips for you. I hope this is going to be very helpful to you. And okay, fine, goodbye.